Hey everybody, I'm attorney Jason McGrath with the law firm McGrath Spielberger, and I'm going to talk to you about why you should care that the North Carolina Limited Liability Company Act changed in 2014. And the reason that I'm going to discuss today is having to do with operating agreements. It was always a bad idea not to have a written operating agreement, but now it's really a bad idea not to have a written operating agreement, and here's why. Basically, the operating agreement for an LLC kind of sets the rules of the road. And so issues like voting and who controls decision making, whether members and owners are obligated to make additional cash contributions, who has what role in the company, and also things that are beyond your control, such as if a member or an owner passes away, unfortunately. What happens to that membership interest, that ownership interest? There are certain scenarios where that individual's spouse could actually inherit certain rights to the company. A lot of this, almost all of this, can be governed by your operating agreement. The law used to be, before 2014 in North Carolina, that if you didn't have an operating agreement, your company and the rules that applied to it fell back on the existing North Carolina law. And that is still the case, more or less, except what has happened is that law has become much more complicated, and the North Carolina LLC Act has all kinds of different scenarios now, and different options that are explicitly allowed. And so it used to be that if you didn't address a certain situation in an operating agreement, or you didn't have an operating agreement, you had this body of law and legal decisions and statutes that sort of said, okay, this is what's going to happen. Now, that law exists, it's changed, it's updated to be more like Delaware's law, actually. But in any case, now there are all these different options. So now if you have a situation where there's no LLC operating agreement, or the operating agreement isn't well done and doesn't address certain situations, then you go back to the rule book, let's just say, and you've got all these different things that can happen. So you're left out there with way too many choices, and you don't really get to pick which one applies, after the fact, when you're already in the middle of a situation or in a dispute, unless everybody agrees, of course. But let's just say that you've got a member who wants to leave. What are the rules that provide guidance as to, can the member just leave? If they do they have to pay anything? Are they entitled to profits? How does that work? How does it work about allowing somebody new into the LLC? What if one of the partners, and I'll just say partners as a general term, what if one of the partners doesn't want to let somebody new into the LLC and the other partner or partners does? How do you resolve these things? The best way to resolve it is to consider that these things can and will happen in advance, consider it in advance, and get an operating agreement drawn up by a well-qualified attorney. If you don't do it, you're essentially driving with no lane markers and no rules of the road, except for the rules that come from the statute, and the statute is kind of all over the place as far as what you can and can't do, and is not tailored to be designed to go along with your company and its specific situation. So basically, take control, be smart, be wise, invest in your future by trying to take reasonable precautions. Hire an attorney to draw up an LLC operating agreement. Not going to cost you that much money, and make sure that you plan for these contingencies. If you've been around long enough on this earth, and especially in business long enough, you know that unplanned things will happen, and they will sometimes happen at the most unpredictable of times. And even when a business is running well, there are still surprises and developments that may occur and have to be dealt with. So plan for the future, be smart, protect that investment of time and money and energy that you've made into your company, and just deal with it the way you should, the way that's going to provide protection for you, your family, your partners, your company, etc. All right. Thank you for listening. I want to share that good bit of advice, and if you want to talk to us about your LLC, certainly don't hesitate to give us a call or shoot us a message, and we'll go from there. But good luck in any case. Thank you.